Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk Shit with Dr. Larry. I'm Dr. Larry Frieder, and this is or going to be, or is a regular talk every Tuesday morning at 8:30, and we're talking about the mind-body healing, the gut-brain connection, and one of my favorite topics is that interface between spirituality and science and spirituality. So I've been thinking about what I'd like to have as my first talk, and really everything I do as a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, a digestive wellness coach, a yoga teacher, it all is about epigenetics. And so epigenetics is it's sort of a new science, although the principles behind it have been around since humans have been around. You know, we used to think of genetics as being our predisposed hereditary. You know, we get half the genes from our mom, half from our dad, and that becomes our genetic destiny. Brown eyes, brown hair, that kind of thing, height. But what we have realized is with this field of epigenetics is that it's all influenced by the environment. And included in the environment is our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. The fact that you may have been diagnosed with an illness or something like that, and you need to be aware that you have way more control over influencing your healing than you might think through this field of epigenetics. I was diagnosed at a very young age with Crohn's disease. It's an inflammatory bowel illness. And the thing is, there's over 100 genes that determine whether you get Crohn's disease. And there are a lot of people out there that have all of those specific genes, but they don't have Crohn's disease. So there's this sort of perfect storm that's created for me when I was 9 years old, getting a lot of ear infections, antibiotics, developing kind of a leaky gut, 1970s sugar, cereals, 5 bowls of Captain Crunch every morning. And it set the stage for this epigenetic expression of this autoimmune disease. So there's way more to it than just being a victim of genetics, right? We have control over our health way more than we thought we did. I mean, everyone knows that or has experienced being stressed out. And when you get emotional stress over a long enough period of time, you end up getting sick, right? You get the flu, you get the cold. Your immune system is compromised when we're stressed, right? Everybody is familiar with that concept. Well, that's epigenetics. It's where the stress influences genetic expression. Genes basically produce proteins which produce hormones and cell repair, all the different functions of the cell, healing, everything is determined by the proteins that are produced by the genes. And so, a lot of times the brain doesn't even, can't even tell, the mind can't really even tell what's real or imagined. So we wake up from a nightmare and we're in this cold sweat and our heart's beating, and our mind thought that nightmare, that dream was the real deal, right? And so we'll be talking in future sessions about how we can, in a way, trick our brains, make to create a placebo effect in order to create these epigenetic changes and create healing in our bodies. And so There's a great study that was done by Deepak Chopra, the famous holistic medical doctor from India. He has an amazing research facility where they're doing all kinds of cool science and spirituality, mind body medicine. And so he did a study using heart patients, advanced heart disease patients, and he measured their inflammatory markers in their blood, things like C-reactive protein, which measure full body inflammation. So he got this baseline. Half the group, the control group, just went about their daily lives. The other half did a gratitude practice, right? So they had a pen, they had a pad, and pen on their nightstand. And as soon as they woke up in the morning, they grabbed the pad and they wrote down, I think it was 5 things, 3 to 5 things that they were grateful for. And this could be anything from, oh my God, these new sheets felt a great last night, or I love my kitty sleeping on my pillow with me. I got a good night's sleep. I love my family, my kid, whatever it is. Oh, wow, I see the sun coming in through the window. So we're writing down just whatever comes to mind, 5 things we're grateful for. And this sets the day, that classic law of attraction thing. When you start the day focusing on what's working, what's right, that is what your brain is going to look for throughout the rest of the day. If you wake up and complain, that's what is going to be followed. So these folks wrote a gratitude practice, 5 things written down, and writing them down is the key. It's great to say, I'm grateful for this or that, but studies have shown that writing it down is the key to really creating change, right? So they did this for 8 weeks. At the end of 8 weeks, they retested their blood, and compared to the control group, the gratitude practice group had significant measurable decreases in inflammatory markers in their brain. Incredible, right? So this isn't just a woo-woo, feel-good spiritual practice. This is real healing science. You can create measurable, proven reduction in inflammation of your entire body by doing a gratitude practice. Incredible, but you got to write it down. So there's so many amazing stories like this, so many amazing research studies out there that that show us the effects of our emotions or feelings. One more study. This was done with mice. There was a really happy, well taken care of family of mice in this study. And they introduced an asshole into the group, some angry, aggressive mouse, right? So what they did is first they checked the poop of the families and looked at their microbiome, the bacterial balance in their gut. 30 minutes after they introduced this aggressive member, they retested the poop and the bad bacteria began to flourish. There was a shift in the microbiome toward unhealthy dysbiosis or out of balance, poor balance of bacteria in the gut after 30 minutes of stress, right? So we're taking probiotics and we're doing prebiotics and all this stuff to try and cultivate a healthy gut and microbiome. And then we see only 30 minutes just tanks the whole thing. And so this is another example of how your thoughts, your feelings, emotions are really where it's at. This is really where we can create healing and health in our bodies, is through having this awareness, learning skills to manage our nervous system, whether it's yoga or meditation or breath work, pranayama, prayer, getting a good night's sleep, shifting our beliefs, uh, changing our perspective. All of these things can create epigenetic changes and healing. So there's way more going on here than just being diagnosed with a particular issue or trying to figure out the perfect diet or whether you should go paleo or keto or whatever. What's really at stake here is your ability to create healing and wellness through your mind and through your attitudes, your feelings, your thoughts. So that's it for today. I'll be back here next Tuesday. Feel free to comment or leave a message if there's a particular topic that you'd like to talk about. I'd love to see people commenting in the post and interacting, and so we can have a conversation on and talk shit. Great to see you. Thanks for joining me.